And welcome back to the Always Be Building Show, sponsored by Dynasty Football Factory Network. I am Stephen Chalmers, joined as always by my partner on the right side of the screen, Mr. Ryan Odell. Deli, say what's up to the people.
Welcome back, guys. 3 in a week. Crazy work out of us after disappearing for 3 weeks, but continuing with these draft profiles. It's that time of the year. This is what me and Steve love. We just ran through Judkins and we ran through Caleb Johnson. We saved the best for last of this next group of running backs, in our humble opinions. I know I've been weird in the last two shows, didn't want to give anything away, but Omarion Hampton is our running back 2 in this class. We're super stoked to talk about him tonight. Last year for us, we were heavy on Bucky Irving. We stamped that as our guy. This year, it's Omarion Hampton. And boy, do we love what we see.
Yeah, so there's going to be another running back that we're going to talk about a little later on in the process. So he reminds me a lot of Bucky. So just a little preview for those guys that we're going to talk about a little bit later on down the draft boards for the running backs. He's going to probably fall to like late second, maybe early third, depending on how the boards fall. But the thing is don't be afraid to go get your guy. I learned that. Yeah. I had Bucky very high. I mean, very high. And Ryan is a testament to this. I was a big Bucky Irving guy. Yeah. And I kind of let the masses talk me out of it due to the combine testing results. And I moved him down my board a little bit. And I shouldn't have, because I was right. The tape showed game. He did. And you know what? It's cool. You live and you learn. So stand by your takes. But here we are tonight, Omarion Hampton. Again, we get to do what we do because of Dynasty Football Factory. So before we get started, I just want to say thank you to those guys over there for allowing us to do what we do. We have two new videos. The third one will be dropping sometime tomorrow. That being the Omarion Hampton video that we're doing now. Caleb Johnson is up. Quinshawn Judkins is up. Also, Tet McMillan is on there. And Ashton Jeanty. Those profiles are up. So before we get started, I just want to tell you we are going to probably do one Friday. Not sure yet. Not sure if we're going to do a QB or if we're going to go to Egbuka. Yeah. Really, really feeling Emeka Egbuka right now.
We're patiently waiting to talk about Travis Hunter, right? We're kind of waiting to see whether he's going to play more receiver or more corner before we cover him as a full profile. I think a lot goes into the split before we start getting into Travis Hunter. But, yeah, I'm leading Egbuka for Friday if you want to lock that in now.
Emeka Egbuka.
All right, bet.
You heard it here first. So, Ryan, before we get started, anything you want to say?
Ready to rock, baby. I'm good. I said my piece. What
Ready
you got to say? Oh, Mark Andrews is a bum. That's it. Sorry. I'm done now.
Playoff football happened. Shout out to the commies, man. I haven't really displayed or talked about this, but I had a really good friend of mine that I used to work with. He passed away suddenly, left behind a beautiful family, and huge Redskins fan, huge Commanders fan. So for him, it's HTTR always. Huge season from them, man. Jaden Daniels, shout out to JD5. You got ice in your veins, man. What a hell of a postseason run. 7-0 going into the end of the regular season. And then your playoff performances so far have been absolutely spectacular. Shout out to you, man. You get to go play in the link for the NFC Championship. Congratulations. At that point, also, too, Josh Allen, it might just be a season of destiny. I can't really blame it all on Mark Andrews, but in the most pivotal of moments, Mark Andrews really let down the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson did put them in an 11-point hole to start the game early.
Sure. 2 turnovers hurt.
But 2 turnovers hurt. I mean, a very blatant interception. Easy strip sack for a fumble from DeMar Hamlin. Sucks. But, 11-point hole early, but Lamar climbed out of it. And you know what? He put him in a situation to win. He had a legacy drive. 2-point conversion was dropped. And, Mark Andrews also had a fumble. Andrews had a fumble himself. I saw people were talking about him having to walk home from Buffalo with no socks, no shoes, get hypothermia. I was like, this is crazy.
The trends that are going on around him are insane, but that will probably be one of the greatest tragedies for the next few years out of playoff football. Because
Yeah. As a Steelers fan,
I'm never going to know what could have been. So,
as a Steelers fan, it really does surprise me that this game came. Like, this is his first fumble since 2019. Mark Andrews has been a model of consistency and reliability for the Baltimore Ravens. He has had a hell of a career up until this point. So it is a tragedy for that to happen. So,
yeah.
Does it surprise you that Singleton and Katron Allen are both returning? Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes. Seeing as if going from his sophomore year to his junior year, Nick Singleton saw a huge uptick in efficiency again. We talked about his freshman year as breakout, and we were talking about him as the Devy running back too, alongside Quinshawn Jukins. We were talking about that as who was one, who was two. Sophomore year, I thought Quinshawn Jukins separated himself as Singleton took that step back. And now we're talking about the true split still happened going into the junior year, but the efficiency was there for Singleton. Yeah, and now, again, we get to watch him split the backfield one more time at Penn State. Yeah. But individually, it kind of hurts value for both of them. They both have a unique skill set. They both have a unique skill set at Penn State they get to display, but they don't get back to themselves.
It's kind of like Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty in leagues like Sonic and Knuckles. It's kind of the same situation there in Penn State, but SC hit it on the head here. It's the same thing. It's like I figured if Nick was going to the league or if Nick was staying back, that Allen would go in. I mean, I think that they both could have capably came out this year and been fine to get drafted to a team. But, yeah, both of them return is crazy to me. I guess running back for one more year, it's going to give Judkins and I forget his name, Travion Henderson vibes.
Yeah, so. I mean, the only thing that I saw was the biggest issue I had with it was the utilization his sophomore year. I really had question marks going for Nick Singleton going into a junior year, but again, I saw the uptick in efficiency that I needed to see. I saw his full 3-down skill set on display that I needed to see. He was involved in the passing game that I wanted to see as well. Singleton always had that skill set coming in. And I really thought his draft stock was shooting up in 2025, and it was gonna continue to shoot up when he tested well at the combine. We know how athletic Nick Singleton is. Those days, the combine days and the pro days, they really improved draft stock. I thought he was going to be a day 2 running back. Sure. And we go. He's coming to the 2026 class, which is, in my opinion, a very weak running back class. So maybe he'll be able to separate himself in that aspect. But does Quinshawn declare or stay? Well, I'm talking about him like he's coming out. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's assuming.
I'm assuming he's coming out. I'm assuming that him and Travion has to come out.
Travion doesn't.
I'm assuming Quinshawn comes out.
Yeah.
Hampton.
I don't know, these NIL deals, I think, is what makes the big difference between staying and going, if I'm honest with you.
Especially for running backs. Yeah, especially for running backs when it comes to their deals. But if they lose, he stays. Well, they are up 14-7 driving right now. I don't see them losing this game, man. Ohio State just seems like the team of destiny this year, even though they couldn't beat Michigan.
All right, let's get to the subject at hand, though.
Omarion Hampton.
Got a little lost there. All good.
So we got 6 foot, 220. Some say 5'11", some say 6 foot. Let's give it 5'11 and a half. Let's meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Let's meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Makes sense. North Carolina football roster has him listed as 6 foot. Bleacher Report has him at 5'11". Whatever. Let's go with 6 foot. 6 foot, 220. Projected 4.45, 40. Could be lower. I've seen him projected 4.43. I've seen him projected 4.46. I've seen in that range 4.43 to 4.46. Let's put him at a 4.45, just projected. Let's go with that for now. So Omarion Hampton, very, very sparing usage his freshman year, had to wait his turn. Sophomore year, we're talking about over 3,100 rushing yards. We're talking about a very solid efficiency, just under 6 yards per carry for both seasons. We're talking about 30 rushing touchdowns. We're talking about over 60 catches and almost 600 receiving yards. We're talking about over 4,000 purpose yards, and we're talking about just under 40 touchdowns scored in 2 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Quote me if I'm wrong. I know Gene T probably got close, but I believe he's the active leading rusher for the past 2 seasons, despite Gene T's year this year. His best player in the ACC offensive side or defensive side of the ball. Kid's a baller. What stands out most for you though, to put him as your RB2 so far?
So the thing that stands out for me is Omarion Hampton is the kid in the ACC who has done more with less. There has never been a point where we're talked about Omarion Hampton having even a decent offensive line. But Omarion Hampton has never complained about it. He's never come out to the media. He's a quiet kid. He's come out. He's done his job. He's balled out. He's put this North Carolina offense on his back. At no point has he ever complained about his overall team build. Never. He's done his job, and he's done it well. Everything he does, he's done it with less. I love this kid.
And copy paste, I mean, just more carries. I mean, exactly the same career back to back. I mean, no fall off at all. 5.9 both seasons, 15 scores. It's a beauty to see. And the constant uptick in the receiving yards and the receiving efficiency as a back out of the backfield is a great note too. Every year you see his yards per catch go up. Every year you see the catches and yardage go up. So kid's gearing up to be something special in the league, if I'm honest.
I really do like this kid, man. So let's start with it. Some positives for me. So when I see the mixture of Omarion Hampton, I like to talk about a couple of things. I like the overall mixture of the high motor, the high drive, mixed with his strength, actually mixed with his build, and then his lower body strength.
Right.
Mix that all together, and you get a mini missile firing at you behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Because we talked about Caleb Johnson and we talked about Quinshon Judkins and how they get out and make decisions quickly. And he does as well. But when he does it, he fires, and he fires quickly. We talked about vision. We talked about Caleb Johnson's vision. We talked about Quinshon Judkins' vision. But when I watch a 6'2", 220-pound running back and I can see him find holes that aren't even there, there's a lot of tape that I watch, and it seems like this kid has the ability to find holes that aren't there, and he has the ability to fit in tight creases and get skinny and make holes for himself and then get back to his top speed and burst and then turn to his high motor and pick up yards. It's just a beautiful combination to watch. Just put it all together on tape. And again, you can talk about the level of play here. The ACC, it's a Power 4 conference, but it's one of the weaker Power 4 conferences. I get it. But still, this kid just has that. He has that mindset. He has that. He's just special. I like this guy.
I think the glaring thing is, I think out of the three we've talked about, he has the best breakaway speed. But saying that with breakaway speed, he's able to change direction and make moves on these defenders and these safeties in the back and still keep full speed going is really impressive. Runs with ability. And then another big note I noticed on tape is once he gets down towards the goal line, which is something you really want to see in the league, he churns to those extra yards and fights for the red zone any chance that he gets. I've seen him drag offensive linemen a few times this year on his back just to get into the end zone for his team. He's just that guy. He's your 3-down back. I just think sky's the limit. Obviously, landing spot happens here. This is a guy that me and Steve have been high on for over a year and a half now. And it may seem like gas, but this is like study, work, tape, what we came down to.
So also, too, out of the 4 that we've talked about so far, the running backs, him being the 4th, this is the guy that I've noticed that is the least afraid to stick his nose in a defender's chest in pass protection and get down and dirty and get busy. And I like that. This kid is not afraid to put his nose in a defender's chest and run through this. Now, I'm not saying that his technique is perfect. It can be cleaned up. But the willingness to step up in pass protection, see the schemes break down, pick up blitzers, I'm fine with it. If you're willing to do the dirty work, I love it.
We got anything else?
I mean, of course, we talked about his size. I mean, he just possesses the
Yeah,
true
we
size to be a three
covered that.
down back.
Right.
So some negatives I see on his tape, like I said, no prospect is perfect. We always discuss this with you guys. So for me, at time he relies more on his power. Like I said, when he gets going behind the line of scrimmage, once he breaks that to that second level, he relies more on power, especially in open space. If he's going to hit a defender, he's going to hit him and he's going to try to run through him. He typically doesn't have much lateral ability. He doesn't really have that elite ability to make someone miss in open space. You have to be able to live with that. And that's just what it is. I'm not going to say he's Devin Neal. He can't work in tight quarters like that.
Yeah.
He's not.
I mean, it's fair.
He just and that's just what it is. Lastly, he runs with great pad level. He does have a great center of gravity. He does have great contact balance. But as the game wore on, I did notice this. Maybe it's due to fatigue because he did see a lot of touches overall in games. I also noticed that he did. I also noticed that in games, as the games wore on, he tended to stand more upright, which leaves a whole bigger section to get hit. And you want your running backs to stay more pad level, low centered. You don't want them to stand upright. Like Jeanty, he stands upright in the backfield, but as soon as he gets the ball, he's at a low contact balance stance and he's ready to go. So as the game wears on, he typically looks to stand more upright in his running back stance, and that's something that he probably needs to just be aware of.
Right. I mean, it's tough to say that. I mean, in the games, he's at 20, 22 touches every game. I think that's what he about average. So it's like eventually it wears on you as a back. But yeah, I mean, definitely something to keep an eye on. You got any I feel like we haven't really done this as much as we did last year. Do you have any preferred landing spots for Hampton?
Yeah, the Chargers. I think he fits very perfectly with a Greg Roman offensive coordinator. I think that's his perfect fit.
Yeah, I can see that. Mid-second.
Straight north, south, get behind these big dudes and let's get rolling.
I mean, Los Angeles is definitely going to be the market for a running back. J.K. Dobbins is there.
He seems like a Jim Harbaugh running back.
Yeah.
Lastly, the one thing I do want to say is, again, we talk about opportunistic fumbles. I just want to tell you that he did fumble twice in the red zone this year. Just want to point that out to you.
Fighting too much. But yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, it's
just something to bring up.
I actually didn't have that in my notes, so it was good note.
So, as I always do, I have my pro comp. I always have my pro comp. Always do. So, for Omarion Hampton, my pro comp, when I watch him play, I see a lot of Josh Jacobs. A lot of Josh Jacobs. Very similar run styles, very similar play styles. And I think that is obviously a ceiling. But if I get a Josh Jacobs type running back out of Omarion Hampton, I'm damn happy.
Yeah. And then the only other question before we move on to tape that I had was we were both very high, well, one more than the other, on Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, who also came out of UNC that were, for the most part in the league, disappointments, whether it be injury or lack of skill. Any worries that go into Hampton to be the same situation where it's more like a UNC scheme? Or are we not? Because
Javonte
not worried at all. But where are you
Javonte Williams was specifically injury related. I mean, you remember how he broke out his freshman or his rookie season, especially in the preseason when it came to yards after contact, broken tackle rate, and just things like that. Instantly stood out in the preseason. Instantly carried over to the regular season. Then the ACL tear happened, and his ACL tear wasn't just a common ACL tear. He completely shatters his knee.
Yeah, done.
It's hard to come back from that. And I mean, he never bounced back from that. You can see that. And it's unfortunate for Javonte Williams because just how great he was and like those sparing moments when we got to see Javonte Williams on the field. Michael Carter, I mean, we knew what Michael Carter was, a change of pace guy who had a uptick in receiving upside. I mean, we knew that.
I mean, yeah, I guess I shouldn't say that we were high on him. I feel like the public got a little bit higher than they should on Michael Carter.
Right.
Those lineups.
But I think in that standard, North Carolina specifically, especially in a lower level Power 5, at that time it was a Power 5 conference. The Pac-12 hasn't dissolved yet. You can get away with a undersized running back like that, and they can look the part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the NFL, especially the AFC East, who for the most part bodes, pretty solid defensive fronts and units. You're going to put Michael Carter out there in a situation. If you're going to ask me, can this kid handle 15 touches a game? I'm going to tell you no. Now, if you were to put him in situations where you isolate him in space and you get him going in open space, yes. But if I ask him to touch the ball 15 times between the tackles, do I think he's going to succeed? No, probably not.
Yeah. All right. We got some clips tonight.
Yeah, I got 3 clips.
Run them up, baby boy. All from Snoog.
So this is in the red zone. So this is one of your things, like you're talking about carrying D linemen and just the push up here up front. So
Oh, sick. You got one. Okay.
So I'm going to say we're probably about the 7 here. Ball's about to get snapped from the 7. He's in shotgun formation too. He's going to get a little head start out of shotgun formation, but just watch him carry defenders into the end zone here. And the most impressive part about it is this is off a jump. He laterals his offensive lineman.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is the bad angle of this play because you can't really tell in the tape, but he does jump the whole offensive defensive line here.
Yeah, he laterals everybody, which is really impressive. Really, really impressive.
Gets caught after the jump and still manages to score. So he's got that drive in the red zone.
So here we go here. You're going to see, again, out of shotgun formation. You're going to see a hole open up, and he's just going to take this a big chunk, and I'm going to let this play out.
Hate that he doesn't score there.
Actually, I will say the DB did take a great angle.
Yeah, he did. 7.
I must say the DB did take a really good angle right there.
I say that, but he's also running from his own 27, so it's like not a whole lot of guys can house it unless your name's Ginty.
This clip is fucking awesome. I'm just going to watch this clip.
Straight through the skinny gap, fighting. Ooh. Another example of him just carrying bodies to the goal line.
He just bounces off any defender, man. He just – we talk about the absorption of contact and like how these running backs that we've talked about so far and how they're not afraid to absorb contact. This is another example. This is a running back that is not afraid of contact. He embraces contact. And with this running style, it does scare me because I'm really not sure how long his window of elite play can be open for. But if you have him, you have to just enjoy the ride.
Right. Yeah.
Because Omarion Hampton is not afraid of contact. He embraces contact, and he loves it. And it does scare me. It really does scare me a little bit. Like when it comes to if you're going to ask me about a window for him, I don't know. Because that type of play style typically doesn't last long in the league.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. But hey, look, enjoy it while you can. I think it'll be a pretty good window of opportunity either way, if I'm honest with you. I'll be interested to see where he lands in drafts, though. We're still pretty far out, but right now I think his range is like 4 to 6 ish in the most of the mocks that I've seen. I think he's still worth the price there.
Easily.
But yeah,
Yeah,
any running back, quarterback, any position that embraces contact is bound to get hurt here and there. But we'll see.
Yeah. So
you never want to project injuries, is all I'm saying, I guess.
no, you don't. But you have to also be realistic when it comes to that kind of play style.
Yeah. Fair.
So that is gonna wrap it up for Omarion Hampton. Friday, Egbuka.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna have one profile this week, and then we're gonna jump into it with another hefty week the week after.
Yep.
Again, realize we're not skipping Travis Hunter just to skip Travis Hunter. We are waiting for him to declare some sort of position. I understand a two-way player is really hard to break down, because if I could break down Travis Hunter as a wide receiver, that would be easy to do. It would be phenomenal. It'd be
We
great.
would have done it already.
We would have done it all.
It would have been
But
done. But yeah, emphasis on once we find out more about the split and all that comes with that, which is a headache in fantasy, we'll get to them when things become more clear.
Right.
But yeah, if you joined late in this video and you missed the front half of it, video should be up shortly, probably tomorrow morning-ish on YouTube. Keep an eye out for that if you missed anything. But yeah, that wraps it up for tonight. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Yeah. So appreciate you guys, to the 221 people that are here hanging out with us, especially on the night of the Natty. Much appreciated. So we'll see you guys Friday. We'll be talking to Mecca Egbuka. And on that note, we're going to end the stream, and we are out.